majorly penetrated.
That is footage coming in from Luwero Industries showing the manufacturing process of one of the buses or the coaches, the diesel-driven coaches in there. Well, without ever growing social media, we've had a poll on Twitter regarding the same topic of discussion that we're actually having this very morning. And quick one, when you look at what is actually coming in from there, some of the replies that we've happened to get, and Alan is in here to actually help us answer and reply to this particular one. This one is coming from Alan Okul, I think he's a namesake apparently, who says that why aren't we driving already? It's been over 5 years now and we still see nothing. What does Kiira have and what are the names of those particular vehicles?
Yes. Since 2019, the buses have been on the road, being used by Ugandans on a daily basis. And right now, I think Alan, if you, in case you are planning to go to Kasese or Fort Portal or Mubendo Michana, you can actually board the Kayola coach, currently in the fleet of Karita. So the buses are already on the road. They have been on the road for over 2 years now, and they are being utilized on a daily by our Ugandans to move. But also, Alan, in case you would like to place your order, we are open. Please come and discuss so that you can get a bus in your hands as well. So the models that we have the Kayola EVS, which is a low-flow city bus. So that one is designed for city mobility.
Okay.
So this would target operators within the city. Then we have the Kayola coach, which is designed for long-distance travel. So people are doing cross-country travels, people who are in tourism, people, corporate companies as well, to move staff. Yeah, so those are the two variations of the products that we currently have.
Okay. Now, looking at the country's progress in the shift to electric mobility, like you call it, I do believe there are challenges attached. There is always challenges that come, maybe shortfalls. There are others that are long-term, and you're still trying to find solutions to that.
Yeah.
But if you're to break down for a viewer out there, what are some of those challenges that you're facing from your side of the industry?
So there are two major challenges that I think right now every vehicle manufacturer is interfacing, and these have been a result of international politics, but also the COVID-19 pandemic. And these two are, one is in the area of international logistics.
Okay.
His Excellency last night was giving some
On the State of the
Economy address and on the commodity prices. And one of the things he rightfully pointed out was how much as the economy is opened up globally, some things don't also equally kickstart and get back to the levels they were at immediately. It takes time. So you find like there's backlog of, for example, commodities that need to be shipped because the shipping industry was also disrupted. So they have to first fulfill that. And so you find that there are delays in certain things to be shipped in, because right now we don't make everything on the bus. And some of the work you're seeing in Ginger, of the construction of the plant, it was also impacted by the same. So you find that maybe you're importing maybe the steel, or maybe the fascia boards, the boards that you're using to do the finishing. So you're losing on time. So that is one. But the other one is on the pricing. Because of that, COVID-19, factories shutting down, bringing down in terms of how many people they can hire. So it also created a disruption in pricing. So you look at things like steel, there's also been some shortage on things like chips within the automotive industry, specifically for passenger vehicles. So now our response to this is, how do we expedite our efforts for localization? this will enable us to have more control of the supply chain as well as the pricing.
Okay.
So we are actively working to localize. Right now we are starting at about 18% of our buses with local content. By 2026 we want to get it to at least 26% and then 65% by 2030.
Okay.
So doing things like that bamboo floor finishing that you're seeing, things like the steel, things like the glass, the aluminum profiles, the shock absorbers and suspension systems, the brake pads, the seats. So all those are avenues for localization and creation of opportunities here as well. Because right now government, so through government, we're able to acquire 1,280 acres of land in Kayunga, where we want to establish the Eco-Automotive Industrial and Technology Park, so that we can support and incentivize local manufacturing of these components and systems.
Okay. Now let's also look at the future. Lastly, I would want to know the future of technology, electric mobility, and also the future of the car in Uganda. Where do you see us heading to? Where is Kiira Motors headed to? And what are those key things? What are the key future prospects that you look at and say, yes, if we are to do this and this by the next 5-10 years, this is our manufacturing going to have, this is the capacity we shall be at, and this is what we are going to achieve?
So between now and 2030.
Okay. Those are 8 years.
Yes, 8 years. Our target is that Uganda will be producing 500,000 vehicles per year.
Okay.
That's not just Kiira Motors Corporation. Right now, I'm sure locally made vehicles. Right now, we import about 40,000 vehicles a year. Actually, not just import. We register approximately 40,000 vehicles a year. They reduced a bit during COVID to about 38,000.
Register those that are coming in,
yes,
or those that
imported.
are imported?
Yes, imported.
40,000.
Yeah.
That's quite a good big number.
Yeah, every year 40,000. That's about, and in value, imports, that's $500 million US.
That is being taken out of the country. That's
being taken out of the country. And then we export our coffee at about the same price.
And they even have more health implications on the ground. Yeah.
Absolutely, because an average age is 16 years of this vehicle at first time registration.
Okay.
So that's the current environment, and we want to change that narrative. So the 500,000 vehicles there would not just be supplying our market, but also the market of the region. Now, we also want to have 65% localization. So 65% of these 500,000 vehicles should be made locally. Yeah, so we are getting input from like our Juakali here in Katwe and Luiri, because we work with them a lot when it comes to like the interior upholstery. Some of them we brought them on board on the welding and all that. So we want to see, and then this should contribute at least 12.5% to our GDP. So this should enable us to also get to the target of being an upper middle income economy by 2040. So this is the opportunity that we have as a country.
Okay.
And we are very well positioned to be the pathfinders for the region, especially when it comes to electric mobility, because we are actually the champions of electric mobility, not just in the ESC but in the rest of Africa. We are setting the pace.
Okay.
And the rest are going to follow.
All right. And we're hoping for the best as Ugandans. I do believe if this is the way to go technology-wise, and in terms of saying that we as a country are benefiting from such innovations, we will be lifting our flag so high. Then lastly, Alan, your last remarks as we're winding up with this discussion. In general, what is your general overview in regards to Uganda's current economic status, and maybe also technology-wise, mainly, because that is a sector that I believe you fit in so well.
Yes. I think from my standpoint, Uganda is very well endowed with not just a wealth of natural resources that we can utilize to create value and ultimately wealth. But also, we have one of the youngest populations in the world. And now it's up to us to channel that energy to areas that will get us to where we desire to be. I believe that we as Ugandans, indeed as the Pearl of Africa, even technology-wise, one of the mantras of the Science, Technology and Innovation Secretariat is they want to make Uganda the best.
Oh.
But that begins with each of us. Our mindset, how do we ensure we are supporting local initiatives, especially in science, technology and innovation, with the requisite, because we need the critical mass, not just for production, but also the encouragement to keep going and to keep pushing forward. That conversation to help us to be better. Even the constructive criticism we appreciate, because it helps us to see the gaps that need to be bridged. We work together to bridge those gaps. So I believe that as Uganda and where we are heading, each of us has a role to play and a piece of the puzzle to fit in for the grand picture that we desire to see, and to have a Uganda which we'll be proud of, and that the future generations will be proud of us for having set the right foundation for them to meaningfully and effectively live their lives with honor and wealth.
Okay, thank you very much for making it this morning. That is Alan Muhumuza, Director Sales and Marketing at the Kiira Motors Corporation. Thank you very much for joining us. Our conversation was entirely on car production, technology and innovation in the country. And I do believe we, as Ugandans out there, are already tapping into the digital space. If you're tapping into the digital space, you would admit that technology and innovation is one of the vital core values of that digital space. And the way to go in the next 5 years is to see that we take action in that competitive sector of the world. Thank you very much for joining this particular topic. At this particular moment, let's first have a look at this report from the Uganda Development Bank. When I do return, I have the press review. Stick around. Good morning. Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.
The country sanctioned the travel restrictions within and out of the country, which contributed to a severe contraction of business opportunities, resulting to a closure, leading to loss of jobs.
Chiguero, I hope I haven't committed to murder your name, is the project lead for this particular engagement, and Oscar West.
This therefore prompted the Uganda Development Bank, that's UDB, in partnership with the European Union to announce a special call for eligible businesses in the tourism sector to apply for and receive up to 1 billion in grant and soft loans with flexible terms, including a collateral of a loan facility of up to 120% cover.
Businesses, as they take advantage of the growing local and foreign tourist traffic, and I think this is what we are starting to observe since businesses and economies worldwide are kind of returning to normalcy as the pandemic kind of dwindles away. The call is open to legally registered businesses that have been in operate at least 2 years, of course before the pandemic. UDB remains committed to agile innovations to match the needs of customers and to support the mission of the bank is to improve the quality of lives of Ugandans through high impact interventions, and we think this is one of them, and also timely under the circumstances.
Jangole revealed that this program was designed in 2020 in partnership with the key stakeholders in the sector to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic and its impacts on the businesses in tourism and hospitality. However, Tourism Honorable Martin Magara Bahinduka says that there is a need for sensitization, adding that many more Ugandans who could be benefiting from this grant are not aware.
My pick of things, I think, as the Minister of Tourism as well, we need to create more awareness, because it's a partnership with Uganda Development Bank, which is a government-owned entity, if I'm not mistaken. So we need to create a lot of awareness about the good things government is doing, especially for us in the tourism sector, in helping the number of players during this recovery process, mainly the hotel owners and the tour operators. So I think at a later date, through the European Union and UDB, probably we should organize something much bigger, because I'm disappointed I've not seen some people here that are beneficiaries that I should have seen, actually. So we can reorganize as well and make something for the Ministry of Tourism and talk about this. So we create more awareness, because you see, one of the challenges that we have is also encouraging members to register within these associations, within the Hotel Owners Association.
I'd like first to say that this program has really been a groundbreaking program for us from different perspectives. It has been an innovative program for us. It was developed really in a sense, in a spirit of partnership between the European Union, the government of Uganda, the Ugandan Development Bank, and the associations, the different professional associations that are active in the sector. And I think this is important to underline, because what we're trying to do indeed is to work as partners.
Since August 2020, the government capitalized the Uganda Development Bank to a tune of 635 billion to specifically support economic resilience. Ojangole revealed that UDB has disbursed 720 billion to various private sector projects.
Minister, I'm happy to note that since then we have disbursed 720 billion shillings to various private sector projects. 78% of those were to the three key productive sectors where we thought the post-COVID-19 recovery effort would be achieved, and that is agriculture, agro-processing, and manufacturing. Upon implementation of these projects that we supported, there will be sizable economic impact in terms of 62,000 direct jobs.
The main objective of the UDB was to promote and finance investment in various commercial sectors of the economy, with a particular emphasis on agriculture, industry, tourism, housing and commerce. In order to achieve its objective, UDB was empowered by its statute to provide financing in the form of loans and by way of equity participation using funds borrowed from both and foreign sources. Benson Mombere, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Right now it is time for the press review after the Uganda Development Bank report. This, when you look at the press review, I have two newspapers here with me. Big headlines, big headlines. The New Vision has highlighted something to do with President Museveni explaining the state of the economy in his speech yesterday. He did mention something to do with that. No taxes, no tax cuts or subsidies on imported goods. The president also highlighted something to do with the current inflation, saying that some things may not be easily worked upon. So when you look at this, the New Vision has highlighted that high cost of living. President Museveni did explain this in his State of the Economy address, as some of the key highlights here reveal that President Museveni revealed that tax exemptions would mean Uganda has to forego a 1.53 trillion shilling for petroleum. Then there is a 1.15 trillion for diesel and 520 billion shillings for wheat. The president did reveal that how then do we fund our budget for roads, electricity, schools, medicine, security. He wondered before warning that such quick fixes would derail the country of its intended development agenda. So big headline here from the New Vision. Looking at the Daily Monitor, there is a big one here which shows that it's time to dump judges' 1.6 billion uniform. It's a big question. Is it time to dump judges' 1.6 billion uniform? Whereas the horsehair wigs and elaborate gowns have come to symbolize judicial authority from way back with the British government and British governors, historians trace origins of the colonial relic to King Louis the Fourth, who allegedly used it to conceal this. So a breakdown of this is what the Daily Monitor has done, breaking down the wigs, robes of the judicial uniform. The total cost for a judicial uniform is 1.6 billion. The judiciary spends 1.6 billion to formally dress 82 judges of High Court, the High Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court. So 82 judges use 1.6 billion for only their uniform. Then 20 million shillings is a judge star parker. Whenever a judge of the High Court, Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court is appointed, part of the package given to them is set to official attire of 20 million Ugandan shillings worth. Then when you look at the origin of the wigs, the judicial wigs, which are long white horse hair locks, were introduced by the colonial British government to its colonies, including Uganda, Kenya, Ghana, Zimbabwe, and Tanzania, among others. Then we also look at the professional black strip trousers for male judges and skirts for the female justices. So when you break down a little bit of what is coming in from here, it's 1.6 billion. Is it time to break that down, or is it time for the government to actually dump it? We are looking at all this as we are heading into the next financial year, 2022-2023, which will be looking at financial recovery. As a matter of fact, you would want to look at that and say, is it high time to actually consider it? Well, also the Daily Monitor is highlighting how President Museveni has offered no relief on the high cost of living. This actually came after his State of the Nation address on the state of the economy of Uganda currently. And this was highlighted from there as well. So President Museveni came out and offered no relief on the high cost of living. As well, when you look at this, Ugandans will have to continue paying heavy costs to procure basic goods after President Museveni last night dumped their hopes for subsidies and tax cuts on essential goods, noting that if implemented, the same will be dangerous and suicidal. Okay, that is it for the press review. You can as well get yourself copies of these particular ones as they are and get to see more of the business sector there. Very vital and very important for you to actually understand, as the business world is actually making more waves in Uganda today. Good morning. Thank you for being part of us, and we are ever growing bigger and better. Channel 394 Go TV, new channel dedicated to business. Let's speak business daily, and the only way to do that is by joining us on Smart 24 TV as we continue to drive your business. After the break, tell you what.